Hello, welcome to another episode of How Would I Paint That? This one is on the red house. I love the color in this painting, it's beautiful, and the laciness of the greenery on the right side. I always ask myself when I look at a painting, what is the focal point? What does the painter want me to see? And in this painting, it looks like it's the orangey red roof. Once I decide on the focal point, I look for compositional elements that will take the viewer to that focal point. Compositional elements are lines, pointy shapes, and even brushstrokes that guide or push the viewer toward the thing that you want them to look at. In this painting, the strongest compositional element is the road. It is taking me past the house to a distant point. When I look back there, I don't see anything like really exciting. If your viewer is looking at your painting and it's following these compositional shapes and it gets to the end and there's nothing exciting, they feel like they didn't get any cheese, like they ran a maze and there was no reward. The next thing is the perspective. Let's look at the reference photo. And you can see if you draw a line that goes along the top of the roof, another line on the bottom of the roof, another line along the top of the windows, another line along the bottom of the windows, another going the other way, a line from, the peaks, the bottom of the peaks, the windows. We see that everything is converging to the eye level. Now, if we look at the painting and we put those same lines on along the roof, window tops, the peak points, there are three things that I would change. The roof seems to be parallel. The top of the roof should angle down more sharply so that it can eventually meet the eye level. This line that you draw from corner to corner on that roof should be angling down. And the third thing about the drawing is that those three windows on the short side of the house, the top one is centered above the peak, and then the next two are centered under that window. The left one needs to scooch over more to the left. So that would fix up the drawing. Third thing that we would address, which is the pattern of light and shadow. So let's look again over at the reference photo, and we can see that it is not a very strong pattern of light and shadow because it's getting toward the end of the day. But that doesn't mean that we need to paint it that way. Why would we want to make it a little more obvious what the light is and what the shadow is? Because it's the contrast that makes an exciting painting. Looking at the reference still, I'm going to mark out what I think is in shadow, like this. And the fourth thing, it's a tiny thing, but it actually has an important concept in it, is there's a little house that's far away, at the end of that path, tucked in all the trees. And if you look at the house, there's the same green in front of the house as is behind the house. And I don't mean there are greens in front and there are greens in back and they're different. I mean, it's the same color of paint. And whenever you use the same color of paint, it means that it is the same distance away from the viewer. So if you have the same color in front of me and the same color behind me, it squishes me because there's no space there for me to exist. What can you do? Change the color behind it to something grayer, meaning more neutral, and middle value. And that means that it's farther away, and then it lets the house have a little space to exist. So let's make the changes to the painting. So the first thing I'm going to do is change the angle of the top of the roof so we can get it in perspective a little more. We're going to move over the other window. This side of the building is in shadow, so I'm going to go ahead and make the rest of it in shadow. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to lower that corner, the back corner, so it also is in perspective. The most important thing I'm doing here is amping up the light and the shadows. See what a difference this makes here when I put more light on this wall? I'm going to throw some more longer shadows from these bushes and here and have them go across the road a little bit. This gives me the opportunity to make a compositional shape, a pointy shape that's going to take you over to the house, the red house. So you see how there's a dark line along that road? I'm going to take that dark line away because it keeps me from passing across the road and into that shape. Same thing over on the other side. I'm taking that out. At the bottom, I'm going to add some brush marks that will move you up into the painting, and then as you come up, there'll be some ones that angle you over to the right and push you to the red house. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the cast shadow that goes there and the lighter colored far away foliage behind the back house, and add some more of the blue notes in the shadows, and there you have it. Here's the side-by-side comparison. I'd love to hear what you think was the most important change in this painting, or if you heard an interesting idea that you hadn't considered before. Maybe it's something simple like just taking the line away from the edge of the road, or that two spots with the same color mean they're the same distance away. Let me know in the comments. Happy painting!